Hey everybody, and welcome to the first edition of Nerds of the Round by Strictly Nerd. We're here to just talk about things you want to talk about, things we want to talk about, things that matter in movies, comic books, games, everything, society in general, maybe a little bit of newsy, who knows. My name, of course, is Bryan Pruitt.
Matthew Ferguson.
David King.
Frankie Estrada.
And so let's get this started. We had one of our subscribers on Facebook bring up this question. Back when, nerd was always a negative kind of thing. You know, the jocks push you around, you know, broken glasses, pocket protectors, that kind of stuff. And now it's kind of a positive culture, and she just kind of wanted to see what we felt about that. And being that we're all kind of nerdy, we should be able to handle that. So, Matt, I'll kind of throw it over to you first. You know, what kind of transition are you looking at there?
I don't know, pop culture growing up, you know, being a nerd, it was hard because, like you said, people picked on you. I think cinema has done a lot to help change that a little bit because it kind of brought it, like, comics were very nerdy and not a lot of people read comics or collected toys outside of nerd culture. So when you know, movies started getting big on bringing comics to the film, like Marvel has done in the last few years, with starting with Iron Man, probably maybe even with Blade movies, because those kind of came out before the whole.
I don't know about Blade. But...
Well, they were popular. You can't argue that. They were super popular.
No, I'll give you that.
Did really well in the box office. That's why they did 3. But I think with that transition, it kind of made it mainstream, and kind of helped transition. Oh wait, comics are kind of cool again. I don't know. That's how I kind of see it.
Yeah, it's to the fact that growing up, you know, Star Wars was in the 70s, you know, and then into the 80s. Those people are now the adults.
Yeah.
And so those adults have children, and that becomes an acceptable thing. Because I like Star Wars as a kid, and now my kids like Star Wars as a kid. So it just becomes more widely accepted. I see it being that they just kind of, everybody's more acclimated to those stories and genres, that it's, like I said, just kind of more open.
Well, that makes sense, but, like, I don't know, like, going back to the whole, like not being cool when you were a kid, like, when I was in school, like, I mean, I get that was clearly a different time, but when I was in school, it was just some, like, that was it, like, no one cared. Like, when most of the kids played video games and sat around, like, watching, like, you know, 90s, like, Spider-Man cartoons or, you know, old X-Men, like, kids my age grew up with that. So, like, by the time, like, you got to, like, that middle school, high school phase of your life, like, that was awesome. Like, everyone talked about that. Like, if you weren't talking about that stuff, like, you were the weird kid in school. So, I mean, I understand, like, how you guys are saying the whole, like, how cinema and, you know, society has made that really cool with, you know, TV shows and movies and whatnot. But, I mean, growing up, it was cool regardless. Like, what else would you do if you weren't doing those things?
So definitely a different perspective as someone who wasn't part of the before, and that's cool.
I just think it's different. Like, you were not, like, let's say you were not a nerd in the sense of, like, you're thinking weakling, broken glasses, you know, a billion allergies, that kind of nerd. That's the kind of kid that got pushed around
That's
all the
a dork
time.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they use dork for that.
Well, yeah, exactly. So it's not so much that the person has changed. It's more that the definition has changed. Because even though you read comic books, even though you watched this and did that or whatever, you still played sports. You still did this. You still did that. It's not... So you weren't really that nerd. And then, Matt, I know you play basketball a lot. Like... So it's still, you weren't like the little weakling nerd kind of.
So it probably still.
Apparently, you still got, you know, made fun of or whatever.
Well, yeah,
and so did I, because I was weird more than anything. But I think you grow out of it. It's kind of like the saying, like, the nerds, they grew up since they were a little bit smarter. They got the jobs.
You're taking over the world.
And then you kind of take over the world. And it becomes a sense of nostalgia. Be like, well, now I like this, so let's watch more of this. And then they make the movies of this because that's what the people with the money like.
And so much of it is coming back for the new generation. I mean, I don't know how kids are these days. I mean, it could be the same. Everybody still picks on the nerds. I don't know. I'm not 14 anymore.
So, I mean, it's probably more like, has to do with going back to the whole cinema thing, like how they would always, portray nerds as being like those people, billion allergies, fragile glasses, like the tape and everything. But in actuality, like, the nerds weren't really that person. They were doing, I guess, normal kid things, but they also liked, the nerd stuff. So once, like, I guess kids, at least with me growing up, like, once they saw that, like, it wasn't like oh, you're a nerd. It was like, you're still cool. We still, we still have things in common, but it just came more so about we have more things in common with the nerdy stuff than we do the actual normal stuff.
Yeah.
Well, it's like the reason that nerds got picked on wasn't so much because of what they liked. It was because of what they couldn't do. So they can't play sports, they can't do this. Then it becomes, oh, I can't play with the kids, so I'm going to read this book. I'm going to read this comic book and immerse myself in this world.
I think also in a part with being picked on, like, I agree with that, but also I think it's also, like, people picking on others is the unknown. Like, I'm going to pick on you because you read books. That could be coming from someone who doesn't read books, so they don't really know how it is. Or I don't like you because you read comics or watch anime, but they probably have no exposure in that. If you expose it to it, then their ideas change. It's like, oh, actually this is pretty cool.
But then it becomes secret. And then when it becomes popular...
Well, because they don't want to lose their friends.
Yeah, and then it becomes super popular, and that's how Marvel and DC are making their money, because now it's like, oh, it's okay to like this now?
See, everything has become mainstream. Everything is blowing up in different ways. You see so many t-shirts out there.
I feel like they were making their money like long before that. Like long before it was like, actually, oh, this is cool to like comics.
Actually, Marvel and DC were in trouble for a brief moment there.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they were, when the medium started changing a little bit, but then, obviously it's blown up a lot.
Digital comics, that's huge. Like, now you can get your comics, like, in an email.
Yeah, like the Marvel app.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So then you got to worry about printed books. But so we'll segue into the next thing that we definitely wanted to talk about, bringing up Marvel. And you brought this up, David, and I think it's kind of funny, but it's Cosmic Marvel. Are we ready? Are we ready for Cosmic Marvel? This was David's.
Explain what that is. Explain what Cosmic Marvel is.
I was going to transition it to David because he really liked this topic. So
Cosmic Marvel is the sense that everything that happens in the Marvel universe, of course, that doesn't take place on Earth. So that
what are you talking about in the movies? Or
in comics in general, like just in general. In the comics, it's, the Guardians of the Galaxy. You have your Galactus and Silver Surfer. You have your, Phoenix Force and all that. So, I mean, Thanos and whatnot and what have you. So, everything that's not, taking place on Earth, like, your X-Men and your Spider-Man and whatnot. I just don't think, especially with this new Guardians of the Galaxy movie coming out, that the general populace, i.e. those people who aren't, reading Guardians of the Galaxy, or people who even know really what the whole cosmic side of Marvel is, are really ready for us to give them, a Guardians of the Galaxy movie. I mean, granted, from the trailer, like, it looks awesome, which is following along the lines of your, your Star Trek and your Star Wars that's coming out soon. I mean, which is great, and I mean, this could be a good time for them to start it, but at the same time, like, that's a whole lot that they have to ground they need to cover for them to get everyone on board with this.
Well, personally, I didn't know anything about Guardians of the Galaxy except for maybe one or two of the characters. Personally, as a fan of the movies and of Marvel in general, I'm super excited about it. I mean, the fact that they're taking a comic series that is really unknown to a lot, even comic readers who only stick to Batman, Superman, X-Men, the big one, Spider-Man, might not even really know Guardians of the Galaxy. And I think bringing it into a movie form, I think it's going to do really well, and it's going to do wonders for it. I mean,
especially for the series. I mean, I can get that.
Yeah, and I'm sure sales of the comics have already gone up because people are interested. It's like, oh, I need to find out the backstory of these characters before the movie comes out. And I think they're definitely taking a chance with it, bringing Thanos into it when they introduced him at the end of
the
Avengers, and they have a grander idea for him later on. It is risky, but I think it's going to pay off because it is going to change it from the idea of Avengers. Everybody's like, oh, I only know Avengers. You know, now it's like, oh wait, it's bigger. There's a bigger scope in the Marvel universe.
But I mean, that makes sense. Don't get me wrong. Like, I understand, like, from the sales point of view, like that makes sense. But I'm just wondering if when people go to see this Guardians of the Galaxy movie, will it be lost on them? Like, because at least from the trailer, it looks like there's a lot going on. I mean, it looks like the actual movie itself is going to be following closer to the ultimate storyline of the Guardians of the Galaxy. And just from what I've seen in the trailer with, you know, the characters that I saw and the events that were happening, it looks like a lot to cover in just one.
So you're saying it could have like the opposite effect of what the Avengers had, because Avengers, they had time to build up each of the characters. You had a Thor movie, a Captain America movie, Iron Man movie, blend them into Avengers. With this one, we're going to be learning who Star-Lord is, who Groot is. We don't know who they are yet. So,
so we're going to be learning like all at once. Like, here's the Guardians of the Galaxy. Here's what they do.
Go for it. Yeah, go for it. Yeah, it could. I don't know. I mean, a lot of people. I don't have a lot of exposure to Gunn, the director. But people are excited about him. So
I mean, the movie looks great. I mean, if you have any inkling to go see this movie, it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
If you haven't looked at the trailer, go do that immediately after watching this. Like, it's amazing. But at the same time, I'm just worried about, again, those fans, like, because without being a fan of this series, like, and knowing what's happening, it just seems like it's a lot.
Well, and you have to look at it this way. I believe you said we were talking to someone at one of the shops around here that they're like, yeah, I've sold maybe 2 Guardians of the Galaxy comics, or they couldn't remember the last time they sold one.
Like, didn't even remember the last time they went in.
They actually were like, who?
Who?
Your comic books.
Oh, those guys? Oh, no.
We got those somewhere.
Let me go knock the dust off real quick. But then in that same vein, are we ready for a big giant talking tree that's not in Lord of the Rings?
Yes.
Like, are we ready? Are we ready?
Or an animated raccoon
who's very foul mouthed.
Actually, he's not animated.
What?
The head is an actual raccoon. They animated the mouth movements and the body, but they actually had a raccoon in studio.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah. Of course, it wasn't going around shooting people, but they actually had. You can go online and look up some behind the scenes, and they'll have like a little raccoon. Actually, he was a pretty big raccoon on a leash, walking around the.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
That's pretty cool.
But either way, I'm saying it's a Marvel movie. People are gonna go see a Marvel movie, because even people that have never watched Iron Man, don't know anything about Iron Man or the Avengers have gone to see the movies and they've loved them.
Yeah.
So I think it's got the name Marvel attached to it. People are gonna be like, I liked all these other movies. This is gonna be fantastic. And as long as they keep up with like all the cinematography and everything, all the special effects, it'll be fine.
I mean, I'm not doubting by any means that it's not going to do well. It's going to do fantastic. I mean, look at it. It looks fantastic. I mean, especially if you're fans of, the Star Trek movies that are coming out, or even, old fans of Star Wars like we are. I mean, the movie's going to do well. I'm just worried about how Marvel's going to tie all this in together with, I'm assuming, building up towards Thanos.
Well, yeah, I'm sure that's where, obviously,
because they're going to have to bring the Guardians of the Galaxy to Earth when the Avengers movie goes to fight Thanos.
And even
there's no question
Avengers 3, that's probably that would be amazing if that's how they do it.
Like, Thanos doesn't come back until Avengers 3?
Well, that's what they've already said, because you have Ultron for the sequel.
They really?
Yeah, you know that?
I didn't.
That's
gonna be awesome. I didn't even.
In case you don't know,
I paid attention to it.
Avengers 2: Age of Ultron got announced like months ago. No,
I'm clearly behind.
Yeah, no, you got Ultron, and then. I mean, of course, they haven't confirmed it, but they're building. Thanos is probably going to start being built in.
So they're going to build him up.
So
that actually kind of makes me feel better about this, because then that means they're not just going to be like, here.
No, he's like. I think a good way of putting it is like
he's the goal.
He's kind of the end boss of the Avengers, or at least in this branch of movies.
That actually makes me feel a lot better about it. So. I mean, if they're going to do that and, like, build him up, then they have time to build up this whole universe of Marvel.
Do you think they're going to be making these movies forever?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
no,
eventually, they're going to
run
have
out
to
of heroes.
recast everybody because
I read an article where, what's his name? He's like the head guy of Marvel movies right now. It's like Robert Feige or something like that.
I'll put it in post.
Someone find it for me. he said that they actually have movies planned now. Whether they're specific movies like what they already have, like Doctor Strange and Ant-Man, they've got up to 2027. They've got they're already know. I don't know if they know exactly what's gonna go, but that they want to go that far already.
We're gonna forget who these people are by the time we're old.
Yeah.
Like, who's this guy again?
That
Captain America. What's America?
I read that and I was like, I don't know. That's kind of weird. I don't know.
No, sir, you don't forget America.
I mean, how many times have the comic books been rebooted and the movies are already... Spider-Man's come out...
The new one's good though.
A lot of
Ultimate Spider-Man is really good.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Is it like
Amazing
they could just
Amazing, you're right.
Still, I mean, even the Ultimate Universe is really good.
And then they have the new Fantastic Four coming out, which
I heard that Fox is actually rumored to be scrapping it.
Really?
Like with all the beef that came from the casting, like they're like they may pull out.
They need to give it back. Marvel needs to somehow get their hands back on it because
people are so greedy. There's just it's next to impossible.
Speaking of greedy.
greedy. So let's keep segueing with movies and box office. This DC versus Marvel. We know that DC is starting to build their own movie verse.
It's laughable.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Trying to build their Justice League, much like Marvel built their Avengers. We're gonna have Superman versus Batman. Ben Affleck is Batman. It's a weird choice, but I think Affleck
I don't know what they're doing with the casting in that movie.
In a Val Kilmer sort of way, where it's passable.
But see,
it's not Michael Keaton, and it's not Christian Bale.
I'm sorry,
that was the best thing that happened to DC.
Not George Clooney.
The Dark Knight trilogy was the best thing that happened to DC in a long time.
No, agreed. But that's you can't go from what they've done with the Dark Knight trilogy and then bring in Ben Affleck. I mean, don't get me wrong, he could do a great job. I don't know, but. Yeah, I don't know.
It's okay. Bruce Wayne is wicked smart.
I'm gonna go back to Spider-Man. It's kind of like doing the Spider-Man movies in reverse. Like they did doing the awesome ones first, and then go into the Tobey Maguire ones. That's kind of how they're doing the Batman. They did the awesome ones first, and now we're gonna go back to Tobey Maguire.
It's only because Christian Bale and Christopher Nolan are like.
I'm calling Ben Affleck.
We're done.
Maguire.
Oh, I like Tobey Maguire.
Did you like
the first one?
Did you like his Spider-Mans?
Not until the third one, no. But that wasn't his fault. That was just who cares? Like no one cared anymore in the third one. Like the actors, the writers,
Sandman. That makes sense.
I actually had a bigger beef with Kirsten Dunst than I did Tobey Maguire.
Oh, she was not a good Mary Jane.
No.
I didn't agree with that.
I think it's interesting going back to Superman versus Batman. Not talking about the cast because it's still up in the air, but they're now going up against Marvel on the same release date, which is going to be interesting if that date sticks. What did I say it was? August 6th, 2016 or something like that?
2016.
Yeah, way out there. But Marvel had picked that date first. Superman versus Batman was announced. They're like, we want this date too. Marvel, everybody expected Marvel to kind of back out and be like, oh no, let's not do that. They're like, nope, F you, Captain America 3. So it's going to be Captain America 3 versus Batman, or Superman versus Batman. Obviously scheduling and filming can change that, but I think that's interesting. And I think Captain America probably has the upper hand just because we've already had two, and people are still kind of iffy on Superman versus Batman.
Do you guys really think that?
Let's just ruin everybody's summer by J.J. Abrams coming out and being like, Star Wars. Boom! And then we're just like, I guess I'm going to see 3 movies tonight.
That would be an awesome day of movies. That would be an awesome day of movies.
Everybody, call in work, put in your vacation.
No, that would be fun.
It's done.
That'd be fun. I would totally nerd out that day.
That'd be a great day.
Yeah, it would.
Like 4 of us,
and
that'd be great.
Unless Ben Affleck just a horrible Batman, which he probably will be.
That's the thing,
So we'll have to put him down there with George Clooney.
Well, that's the thing. Like,
he can't be worse than George Clooney.
I don't think I can't. At least with the movies that are coming out, I can't foresee DC doing what Marvel has done with the Avengers. I can't see that because let's look at all the
Green Lantern did horrible, and that was wasn't that going to be kind of trying to start it?
I think they're gonna have to reboot that. Aren't they going to reboot that?
Well, see, I think I think they're planning the same thing in TV format, which I think they can be more successful because Arrow's a really good show, and then they introduce Flash on that,
Which
and then
is
Flash
phenomenal.
is getting his own show, and then they're kind of blend. I think if they stick it on just TV, I think they'd do a lot better than bringing it to the theater.
So far,
but-
they are doing better than they
Yeah.
are in the cinema.
Yeah, and then they've got what, Gotham is their next one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With young Commissioner Gordon. Should be interesting. I mean,
But I don't know if that's really going to relate to Arrow and Flash. Like, Flash and Arrow are direct to each other because they've already introduced Flash in Arrow and had his little origin in that. So it'll be interesting to see. If I don't know if they're planning on bringing any other DC heroes, like doing Aquaman or something.
And if that's how they're gonna do this, like, how are they gonna transition all that to Justice League?
because you think if you look at
Unless like Justice League gets its own show.
You've got Batman,
Right.
you got Superman.
Wonder Woman, Aquaman.
Well, Wonder Woman's going to be in the movie.
So
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, is she gonna get her own movie before?
Well, no, I think they'll introduce her in Superman vs. Batman, and then she'll get a spin-off probably. If it works well, I don't know. Because they got
They're doing it the
it's
Marvel
just
way.
too convoluted. Like,
Like,
Justice League gets way too convoluted.
DC in general
Like,
gets really
Don't
convoluted.
get me wrong. Like, Marvel's doing stuff now where like they're like, oh, guess what? Human Torch is dead. Hey, Spider-Man, be in the Fantastic Four. That didn't last very long, but they're making these weird stretches. Justice League just does it all at once. They're just like, who's here? Come with me. Who's here? You come with me. And they're just like this cluster of just people. And so I feel like it weakened the Justice League overall. And so them trying to make this movieverse of the Justice League and do individuals and then all come together, people are already seeing that it's been done and it was done better.
Yeah.
And so
I just think they don't have an overall like goal. I mean, their goal is obviously they want to make money and get where Marvel's at, but Marvel, they knew what they were doing. Like from the get-go, they were like, we're doing this, we're going to blend it together, and it's going to be this huge big thing. Like I said, they have so many movies planned out. Like, who knows? They have like up to Phase 7 planned out already. Like, that's ridiculous. Just imagining that. DC, I doubt they even, oh yeah, maybe a Wonder Woman down the line, and then we'll throw in the other
Wonder Woman
characters.
straight.
Yeah, so it's like I don't think they really know what they're
wanna
looking
do.
at. Yeah, they're just like throwing it all together and just we'll see what happens, and it's not gonna work because yeah, like you said, they're gonna have to redo Green Lantern again, but no one wants that. No, everybody saw the first one, was like that was horrible. They come out with another Green Lantern, they're gonna be like, what? Who cares?
As far as that's concerned, technically the Hulk had to be redone.
Yeah.
And then
And that was-
redone.
But they're not coming out with another
That's the
whole
thing
movie though.
No.
And that's the
thing.
thing about Marvel and the Avengers and what they've done with it so far. Look at all the separate movies for each individual character that they introduced, before Avengers. And they all did great box office wise,
Yeah.
except for Hulk, and even still, like, Ed Norton kind of redeemed that.
Yeah.
So-
Until he flipped off Marvel and walked away. But
Yeah, but I mean,
but the new Hulk, what's the guy's name?
Mark
Mark
Ruffalo.
Ruffalo.
Yeah, like, I mean, I think he did popular enough. I think they can do another Hulk movie, and I think they should. I mean, whether they do it before, they won't do it before Avengers 2, but I think if they have him be Hulk and then they have everything.
they figure out who they want Hulk to be.
Yeah, I mean, because they're building Hulk, like, I would
Planet
think.
Hulk.
I would think Hulk becomes...
Planet Hulk again, Cosmic Marvel. Are we ready for that?
I don't know. I could see them going into him starting to know who he is more so in Avengers 2, since he's not going to get his own movie. Because they can't always just have him destruction.
Featuring
Like,
the Hulk.
Yeah, if you always have Hulk as like your typical I'm angry, destroy everything, I don't know who you are Hulk, it's not going to work. Like they did in the other two movies and what they kind of did in Avengers. They'll need to branch him out to where
So you want more of a Planet Hulk kind of Hulk.
or just a
Like
Bruce Banner Hulk.
Bruce Banner, I'm sorry, self-aware.
Yeah.
Being like, I'm the Hulk,
I don't want them to.
and I have the cognitive
Like he
brain
knows who he
power
is.
to not just rip everything in front of me.
Like,
But
they need
that's
to do that.
kind of what they did in the Marvel. Like they established that Bruce Banner was already at that point where he was like, "I don't want to be this
He
person."
was getting in control.
He didn't even want to do it, like
But he's
because
gotta
he already
become the
knew, and he knew how to.
I just hope they
become
never take
the
away the
Hulk.
Bruce Banner part. Like, always become the Hulk
You
and he's always
always
the
want
Hulk.
the
Because I don't want to.
humanity.
I just don't want this giant CG monster walking around all the time in like a conference room sitting with the Avengers. Like, that'd be
She's talking to Nick Fury.
Like She-Hulk.
They actually, I heard rumors of bringing in She-Hulk.
That'd be a good tie-in with another Hulk movie,
Yeah.
like a tag team duo kind of thing.
Well, she was in all the other Hulk movies. Like
She-Hulk?
Yeah, her character.
Oh well, yeah, her character, but
Yeah,
not her.
Betty Ross.
Yeah.
That's She-Hulk? I didn't know that was She-Hulk.
I don't know too much about She-Hulk.
I thought she was a lawyer
I thought she was a judge.
Pretty sure she was
or
She-Hulk.
judge. Yeah,
Yeah.
something like
Don't
that.
quote me on that one either.
I don't know.
Don't quote any of us on that.
I don't think she was.
Fact checking. We need to
We
do that.
we suck at She-Hulk.
We only know that.
So
All you need to know about She-Hulk is green titties.
we got.
No, I don't think anyone really needs to know that.
Frankie just became the most popular person on this blog.
Well, all right, guys. I think that'll kind of tie us up for today. I want to thank everybody for tuning in and joining us here on Nerds of the Round. You can always go and like us and subscribe, of course, on YouTube, or come to our Facebook, facebook.com/strictlynerd. Also, you can follow us on Twitter @strictlynerd. Please keep on, in the comments down below, more topics you want to hear us talk about, stuff like that. Get involved, make these things a really cool place to hang out and just shoot the nerd shit. Again, my name is Bryan Pruitt.
Matthew Ferguson.
David King.
Frankie Estrada.
You guys have a good one.
My dick is hard.
Way to ruin it.
Did he bark at
Like a
Yeah,
sticker,
he was
Brian.
like,
Like a sticker.
Like a sticker.
What's like a sticker?
Yay.
Hey.